Near the village of Stanton in Somerset, not far from the city of Bristol, is the third largest collection of standing stones in England. There are 3 stone circles of Stanton. The Great Circle itself, as it's known, is 113 metres in diameter, or 370 feet, and is one of the largest in England. Although less well known than perhaps the more spectacular stone circle at Avebury and certainly the world famous Stonehenge, nevertheless, the sheer scale of the site and the monument itself is rather impressive. Although, having recently visited on an energetic level, it has a strange sense of desolation about it. There's something about the location, regardless of it being situated in pastoral, rolling and fertile countryside, that nonetheless contains with it a sense of melancholy, and even when approaching some of the stones, almost a sense of foreboding. Along with the Great Circle are 2 other smaller circles, to the southwest and the northeast. In the Great Circle itself, there are 26 surviving upright stones, although there may once have been up to 30. The circles themselves were first explored and investigated by the famous antiquarian John Aubrey in 1664, and the first plan of the site was published by William Stukeley in 1776. Very little has changed in the 300 years since this survey was made. One of the most interesting aspects of the Stanton site is that the stones have attracted a very rich tradition of folklore, including a famous tale that the stones were petrified members of a wedding party and its musicians, lured by the devil to celebrate the Sabbath and thus being punished for their revelry. However, as is common with Neolithic, Bronze Age and most other pagan sites around Europe, and Western Europe in particular, there is a church built on the location, once again showing the transition between early Christianity away from paganism by co-opting the previous religion and utilising the sacred locations in the landscape. In 1997, English Heritage initiated a geophys survey of the large field in which the Great Circle is located and the northeast smaller circle. The survey used magnetometry, which is a technique that picks up magnetic anomalies in the ground to indicate the presence of buried features such as pits, ditches and other structures. To the surprise of the team, the results were quite remarkable, that the remains of Stanton are just a ruin of a much more elaborate and important site than anyone had previously speculated. Under the pasture in which the Great Circle sits are complex patterns of pits arranged in 9 concentric rings within the stone circle, and further pits within the centre. These seem to be about a metre or more across and spaced about a metre apart from the outer circle. The Great Circle itself contained a very large enclosure ditch which surrounded it at about 135 metres in diameter or 440 feet. It was about 7 metres or 23 feet wide, with a large gap or entrance facing northeast. This henge is a well-known feature seen in Neolithic British antiquarian sites, and is always assumed to be an indicator of a spiritual centre. Several henges enclose the stone circles, and some feature rings or pits, very similar to what we find at Woodhenge and the Durrington Walls near Stonehenge in Wiltshire.